The index. The index. How many of you use the index of musical sources and manuscripts?
I used to, but,
Yeah.
but
I still use it. I mean, it's now on the website, available on the website. But this was discussed for a long time. In 1957 seemed to be the origin of it, with a suggestion from Cecily Arnold.
Yeah,
I
know
don't
the
know
name.
Cecily Arnold.
Yeah.
That various people in society should combine to help such an index, contributing the beginnings of which have been made by several different individuals. So people were making their own little catalogues of music that they found, and the idea was to try and bring all this together. And it was started as a card index, based on, as far as could be told, a complete catalogue of published music and music in manuscripts, based on the list published at the end of Ernst Mayer's book on English consort music, which was published in 1944. And that was the only book at that stage about English viol music. And he'd done a fairly comprehensive list of what was available. Original work was done by Natalie Dolmetsch, Cecily Arnold, Robert Donington, and Richard Nicholson and Marco Pallis, who has just been mentioned. And in 1965, Gordon Dodd took it over, as I know. What happened to the cards?
I think my sister's got them up in.
Right.
Yeah, I think she's still got them. I think she has.
And then, of course, it was transferred into a publishable format with Gordon's amazing charts of pieces and sources and publications and so on, which is...
That was the most ingenious thing.
loose leaves, so you could keep adding more in as you got the
Yeah, and then different instalments being published with revisions and just individual pages being produced. Take out page 48 and put this new one in. We found some new sources. And then, of course, it eventually went online. And it's still, I think, a useful
It's on CD-ROM.
It's on CD-ROM as well.
That's right.
Yeah. But it took a long time. I mean, Gordon started in 65. The first actual publication of any of it was not until 78, so that was 13 years of gathering information. And in 1978, I noticed a discography of the viol is in preparation. I wonder if that ever happened.
LPs would have been.
It would have been LPs at that point. I don't know.
Well, Robin did discography.
Oh, of course he did.
Yeah,
of course he did.
right.
And his LP collection is now in the archive at Huntsfield.
Both, that's right.
Oh, really?
And I think some of his notes about those are archived as well. And the first publication was 1981, so it took a long time to actually start bringing that index to public awareness, but a really important part of the Society's work, which of course is now finished, I think. I mean, and there are still occasional new sources cropping up, which Andrew Ashby looks after, but they're rare now. It's very rare now to find.
A new man.
I think like the Telemann Fantasias reappearing after they've been lost in the Second World War and so on, but it's pretty rare that we're not going to discover 12 new 8-part fantasies by Purcell, I suspect. It's a shame, isn't it? Because that big book, he says, here beginneth the 6, 7, and 8-part fantasies. He never got as far as 8 parts. What would he have done? It would be really interesting to know.